There's a truth hidden behind the headlines, one so old, so deeply woven into the fabric of our world that most people pass through life without ever sensing it. But once you see it, once you feel it, something inside you never goes back to sleep. Because every global conflict, every sudden political shift, every economic collapse, every war that explodes on the map, carries a signature, energetic fingerprint that reveals a battle far older than nations, governments, or ideologies. And if you pay close attention, you'll notice that this world is not simply reacting to human decisions, to forces that move silently through the minds, emotions, and fears of entire populations. And I'm telling you this as someone who has lived long enough to notice patterns that repeat. I'm telling you this as a grandfather who once believed that wars were caused by leaders, policies, disagreements, till the day I realized that the real war wasn't fought with weapons. It was fought with energy, manipulated energy. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. Every thought you've ever had, every fear you've ever felt, every hope you've held onto doesn't simply disappear. It leaves a trail, a frequency, a vibration. Now imagine that multiplied by millions, billions of people. The collective emotional field of humanity is a living organism, and the invisible architects of conflict know exactly how to pull its strings. They always have. Let me take you back to the moment I first felt it. Not understood, it felt it. I was sitting by an old radio many decades ago, listening to the news announce the start of another geopolitical conflict. I remember the room darkening, not because the sun had set, but because something thick and heavy moved through the air. It was fear, but it wasn't mine. It wasn't my family's, it wasn't my town's, it was global. It was a wave that spread faster than any military plane could fly. That was the first time I understood that fear isn't just an emotion, it's a fuel, and someone, or something, was collecting it. And before we continue, listen to me carefully. If you're still here, if something deep inside you is resonating with what you're hearing, then this channel is meant for you. Subscribe right now, because the truths we explore together will never appear on the surface level narratives fed to the world. Like this one, today's theme will make you see global events with eyes that cannot be manipulated again. And if this message reaches more people, the energetic grip on humanity weakens. So leave a like, because every push in this algorithm helps awaken thousands who are still asleep. Now, let's go deeper. Have you ever noticed how global conflicts seem to erupt at the exact moment when people begin to rise in consciousness? When society starts questioning the system, when people begin turning inward, meditation increases. Spiritual teachings spread. Citizens awaken to their own power. Suddenly, chaos emerges. A war, a financial collapse, a political scandal, a conflict thousands of miles away that somehow affects the energy of the entire planet. Coincidence? No, nothing about this is random. There is a hidden pattern. Collective awakening generates a frequency of expansion. Expansion threatens control, so contraction must be manufactured. Fear is contraction. War is contraction. Division is contraction. Confusion is contraction. And so, those who manipulate energy, those who understand the fragile nature of human consciousness, ignite events that re-anchor humanity into fear, anger, and survival mode. Because a population stuck in survival is far easier to influence. Let me paint an image for you. Picture the world not as land and borders, but as a swirling ocean of colors. On a normal day, humanity vibrates in blues and greenscum, hopeful, steady. But when conflict erupts, the colors twist into red and black, fear, rage, hatred, hopelessness. The manipulators don't need to physically influence millions. They only need to trigger the right emotional reaction in a few key locations: media hubs, political centers, influential voices. The rest cascades like dominoes, And this isn't new. Throughout history, ancient empires, medieval kingdoms, industrial revolutions, there were always individuals who understood the energetic nature of human behavior. Today, they simply have better tools, technology, media, algorithms. They don't just shape your opinion, they shape your emotional frequency. And your frequency creates your reality. But here's the part they never want you to understand. Energy cannot be controlled if you become aware of it. Awareness is the antidote. Awareness breaks the spell. And the moment humanity stops reacting from fear, the entire machinery built to manipulate global conflicts collapses. That is why you're here. That is why this message is finding you now. Imagine a young man waking up on a quiet morning. Birds outside, sunlight on the wall, a peaceful world inside his home. But the moment he picks up his phone and scrolls, he is injected with fear from thousands of miles away. He didn't experience the event, he didn't witness the conflict, yet he absorbs the energy as if he lived through it personally. This is modern energy warfare. This is how consciousness is shaped, not by facts, but by frequency. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt drained after watching the news? Anxious for no apparent reason? Angry at people you've never met? Hopeless about events you can't control? That isn't coincidence. That is design. Emotional energy harvested on a global scale. And once you see this pattern, you begin noticing how every conflict follows the same energetic choreography. First comes the spark in event, amplified instantly, spreading shockwaves. Then comes division narratives crafted to split populations into opposing sides. After that, emotional escalation, images, headlines, speeches designed to intensify fear. And then, finally, the energetic harvest, millions vibrating in low frequency, feeding the invisible machinery of control. But here's the twist most people don't expect. Not all of this manipulation is human. There are fields of consciousness, lower energetic forces that thrive on fear. They attach themselves to nations, institutions, leaders, and even ordinary people during moments of crisis. They are not seen, but they are felt. They influence thoughts, decisions, impulses. They whisper into the emotional cracks of humanity. And when entire populations fall into collective fear, these forces grow stronger. This is the hidden layer behind global conflicts, the energetic entities feeding on human emotion, guiding events toward chaos, because chaos is sustenance. But the moment humanity raises its consciousness, their influence weakens. Light dissolves, low-frequency entities like fire dissolve shadows. That is why spiritual awakening matters far more than political sides or national victories. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, during a major international conflict, I walked into a small cafe. People inside were silent, all staring at the television screen broadcasting horrifying images. The air was suffocating. Not because of the news itself, but because of the collective emotional field in that room. Fear hung thick like smoke. I felt it immediately. But then something unusual happened. A little girl, maybe 8 years old, walked in holding a small flower. She approached her mother, who was glued to the TV, and gently placed the flower on her lap. The moment that flower touched her, the energy in the room shifted. Not dramatically, not in a cinematic explosion of light, just subtly, calmly. A small pocket of peace began to expand. One tiny moment of innocence disrupted the entire energetic atmosphere. That's when I realized energy doesn't need to be manipulated only by the dark. Humans can shift it too. A single conscious act can disrupt a wave of fear. And if one small act can shift a room, what could millions of awakened minds accomplish? This is the secret the manipulators fear. Humanity united in consciousness is unstoppable. It doesn't require rebellion. It requires awareness. It requires emotional sovereignty. It requires choosing not to vibrate with the chaos. When you begin understanding that every global conflict is an energetic event first and a political event second, you stop reacting. You start observing, and that shift alone breaks the cycle of manipulation. The truth is, the hidden forces behind global conflicts don't want peace because peace starves them. Peace starves the machinery. Peace empowers individuals to think clearly, question deeply, and awaken spiritually. That is why every time the world approaches a collective breakthrough, something happens. A distraction, a crisis, a conflict. Because the moment humanity becomes conscious of its own energetic nature, the game ends. Now imagine if millions understood this. Imagine if people stopped feeding fear and started feeding awareness. Imagine if every frightening headline lost its emotional grip. Imagine if humanity refused to vibrate at the frequency of war. The manipulators would lose their power overnight. And now, as we approach the final moments of this message, I want you to understand something deeply. Your energy matters. Your awareness matters. You are not just one person watching a video. You are a node in the global energetic network. Your frequency influences the whole field. When you raise your consciousness, you weaken the machinery. When you awaken the world around you. So tell me, what side of the unseen battle will you stand on? If this message awakens something inside you, if it shifted your perception, if it made you feel the invisible battle in a way you never have before, then let me ask you, why walk this path alone? Subscribe now. Join this community. Leave a like so this truth reaches others who are ready. And comment your thoughts. Your intuition might unlock something powerful for someone else. You are part of the awakening. The world needs awakened souls now more than ever.